Alright, in these videos here I'm going to show you some of my ground exercises that I do. Alright, so I think what also helps me to get up, to the bed, is basically doing this little movement here. Obviously across my legs, and it kind of helps with keeping the structure together, and just kind of throwing myself forward, which I think is pretty important with being able to still move around and get up. Which basically this leads me to the first exercise that I want to show you. With toes, a lot of times, I wear sneakers pretty much all the time, and so my toes don't really push off. And so I want to be able to maintain that flexibility in the foot. And so what I'll do is I'll just kind of put my toes underneath me and just sit back into them. And I'll sit there for about a minute or so and just kind of let them, I guess, loosen up, basically. So that's basically how I get the ground exercises started. Then the next exercise I'll get into is I'll just put them down on the ground and then just sit basically on my knees. When I first started doing this stretch, I wasn't able to sit on my knees because my quads were just so tight that I wasn't able to sit here. And so after a while, I'd say maybe about a year now, I'm obviously maybe 6 months, I'm obviously able to sit here. So I'll kind of just hang out here for about 5 minutes, and I can literally feel my quads here. Just it's such a relaxing stretch here. So basically it's one that I really enjoy. So like I said, I'll sit here and just do breathing exercises for about 5 minutes, and then what I'll do is I'll kind of get to my next exercise stretch. This is a yoga pose. And what I want to do here is it kind of helps work and loosen up your hips. Now, with this exercise here, with this one here, I do both the left and the right side. But for time-saving purposes, I'm just going to show you the right side. So what I do is I just kind of put my leg here. I mean, you can put it close, but it's a lot. It's kind of a little more effective if you put it out a little bit further away from your body. Again, my knee is on the ground. Put this foot pretty much close up to the knee. And then just basically kind of just hang out here, just lean back. And I can feel the stretch right in through my quad here, and then also in my hip flexors, which is also a very important part of your body. And when you're moving, when you're walking, those tend to get really tight, and so it's really hard to lift your leg up. And so what I'll do is just basically sit here, focus on taking this leg and pushing it into the ground, and then just kind of getting that stretch. There's a few stretches that I'll do here, exercises that I'll do within this stretch. And they are, basically I'll just bounce my leg off the ground, kind of just, again, it loosens up the hip area here. So I'll do that, count to 20 of those, and then I'll move it forward, move my knee, again, keeping it on the carpet and just making little circles clockwise. Now again, like I said, I keep telling you, is it just works your hips. It gets your hips to get in those motions where walking is still possible. If you don't really stretch your hips, what's going to happen is everything's going to get really tight, and it's going to make moving more rigid. And so it's very important to kind of loosen that out. So once we, with the circular motion, I'll do that clockwise, and then again do it counterclockwise. Okay? And so what I'll do then is, obviously then, if you can, you just kind of switch your legs over to the other side and do the left side. But for the sake of time here, I'm not going to do that for you. Alright, something I want to really talk to you guys about, which is pretty important, is ankle. I talked a little bit about an ankle weakness. And so what I want to show you is that with a lot of times, when I get head on here, a lot of times what happens with your feet when you're standing, because your ankles start to weaken, is your feet tend to get in this position here. And so as you can see, basically if I were to be standing right now, all my balance of my weight would be on the outsides of my foot. And anybody can see that this much balance is your balance. If this is what's supporting your weight, your balance is not going to be that great. So you want to get in this position here, where obviously now my weight is evenly distributed all throughout my foot. And so what I'll do here is practice on taking this big toe and pushing it forward, which then activates this whole side of my foot here. If I don't focus on that, my foot is going to get in this position, and over time what's going to happen is it's going to keep getting in this position. My ankles are going to get weaker, and walking is going to become more and more difficult, and I'm going to fall a lot more. So what I do is, again, with these stretches, with the ground exercises, I make sure consciously to push through this foot, through this big toe. Again, even when I'm standing, if I'm food shopping or if I'm cooking or something, I make sure that I'm pushing through this big toe when I'm standing on the ground, so that it maintains this structure. So now my weight is evenly distributed and I'm not going to fall. So with this exercise here, what I do is basically just push through the foot. Keep that foot, keep your feet as if I'm standing on the ground. Also pushing through the heels of my foot. It sounds complicated, but over time you get used to it and your ankles get a little bit stronger. So what I'll do is I'm going to sit straight up, and I'm going to just lean forward and grab my toes and just pull them back and just breathe out. Okay, now, like I said, in a lot of these videos, I'm not breathing here, but I make sure I'm breathing in before I get into the stretch, and when I get into it, breathe out. And so in this position here, I'm basically just pulling back on the toes to get a little bit of a deeper stretch, and I'm also pushing through this heel. I'm pretending that I want to take this heel and I want to touch that wall. So I'm pushing through there. It gets a deeper stretch in your hamstrings. So hang out here for about 30 seconds and do that, a couple times. Another stretch that I'll do is I'll take this right leg and I'll put it over top of this. I'll put it behind the kneecap. So the kneecap is right here. I don't want to rest it on the kneecap because that's going to be it's going to not be that comfortable. So I kind of put it behind it. Again, with all the ground exercises, pushing through the big toe on this leg here that's on the ground, and pushing through this big toe here. And again, all the exercises are pretending as if I'm standing on the ground. What I'll do is, for stability, so this leg isn't moving all around and messing up my kneecap and causing a lot of discomfort, I'll kind of make a brace here. So that way this leg stays locked in here and this foot maintains its posture of pushing through that big toe, and just lean forward. And so that stretch there, basically is working your IT band, I believe. And it's just also maintaining, again, it all has to really deal with your hips. With limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, it affects your shoulder, your shoulder and your girdle and your hips. And so one of the things that I feel that I'm able to move around a lot, and I don't know a whole lot of people with limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, but I feel that over the years, by me maintaining this flexibility in my hips and in my legs and stuff, and then obviously my shoulders, I'm able to continue to move around. And so I think that if you guys really work on that and just be mindful of, just basically stepping outside of yourself and realize, okay, what on my body is really weak? What am I struggling with? And if you can kind of step outside that and not get mad and judge that, I think you can figure out, okay, well, this is what I need to work on. And so, again, with my ankles, they're not that strong, and I still fall today. But I know that if I don't work on these exercises and maintain that structure and that posture, then, obviously I'm not going to be able to move around. And so something I also want to share with you real quick too is, I do a lot of these exercises because I feel that they're very important to me. And so a saying that I have in my room here that, when I first put up, it was something that I really kind of struggled with because I really didn't believe that it was true. But over the years, obviously, I started to have more faith in myself and confidence in my ability to be able to overcome this. And so if you look, I read this saying every single day, and now I absolutely believe it. And so it's right above, if you pan up there, it's right above the mirror. And if you read it, it says, the first person ever to beat muscular dystrophy, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, like I said, when I first put that up there, I was maybe a little embarrassed to put that up there because I didn't feel that it was truthful. But now, after reading that every single day, I feel this knowing inside of myself that, it is possible that you can do this. And so I believe both in myself, I have faith that I can do it, and I have confidence that I can do it. And so if I'm not the first person to cure myself of muscular dystrophy, I'm not going to be, upset. But I really feel that I can do it, and I feel that if you guys really take the time and have faith and confidence in yourself, I think that you could do it as well. So I wish you good luck, and we'll go from there. Thank you.